What's the nation? Sanbonen Bafetu. Welcome back to Football Trends with me, Nukubi. Now, unfortunately, on today's video, Bafetu, I do not have the footage of today's game. I've been hoping which is somewhere somehow corner, but unfortunately, I'm sorry to say this, I do not have the footage of today's game, but we did play. So initially the game was supposed to play around 11 a.m. In the morning, but we ended up playing at 10:30. So it was a bit earlier than a lot of us expected. Nami ngibone nje ngescore sekore ukuthi how someone has scored, and according to my sources where I was getting the information, they did not specify who scored. They did say someone has managed to score, and it's 1-0 against Al Khulud. I'm not sure about the pronunciation, but now we do going to talk about the goal scorer, who scored the goal, and possibly who was in post when we considered the goal that we did concede. And then we also going to talk about the ox, the ball, and then Naledi Hlongwane. Now, before we get there, please do make sure that you like the video, you subscribe to the channel, and most importantly, click a bell notification so that next time when I post something new, you will be notified and be able to watch that something new. Now, I will be honest with you guys, I'm anticipating the game between Hurricane and then Lionel Messi or Leo Messi. That was the game that I want to watch. So let me try to be as brief as I possibly can. But around that time, I think around 8, that's when this video will be going live. So starting off with Naledi Hlongwane, who is today's goal scorer. Now currently Umfana has 2 goal contribution, you understand, so he managed to score today when we played against Al Khulud. It was a very surprising game, and so far what one thing that I've noticed with the club, it looks like Kaizer Chiefs so far are scoring early, but then we are always conceding a late goal, which is a bit of a problem, but hopefully it is something that we're going to be able to rectify and fix. And remember, this is why we are having those preseason games, and so far I must admit and I must say I've been impressed with our club, even though I still feel like some of those teams are a bit lower than what we would expect. But a team that plays for Saudi Pro League, where idlala nabo Ronaldo, CR7, and then also this other team or this other club where it plays Gula Liga. Definitely, it is something that we need to take into consideration. But other than that, I feel like Naledi Hlongwane is having a very good preseason. So far, he has a 2 goal contribution. He assisted on the first game against Rangers FC, where Ejosa Ekutar obviously took the scoring, and then today we are being told Naledi Hlongwane is the one who was on the score sheet for today's game. And then later on we did concede to what we considered with the penalty. I'm not too sure about that one. I still have to confirm, but we say it's conceding a penalty, even though it doesn't look like it's a penalty to me. But then the person who was in charge or who was in post today when we considered the goal was Bruce Fuma. So far, since still Lugdala, Brandon Peterson has not yet considered a goal. So quite interesting, but it's good to see that Brandon Peterson is continuing where he left off. With the Bruce Vuma and Sazum Kweshina a lot more, because he's someone that has been with the club for the longest of time. So it's questionable. It's questionable how he can be able to concede. But then I cannot speak in terms of that because I don't know how he considered the goals. We still need to see the proof of how the goal was scored, and that's when I can be able to say, okay, but for now, yeah, obviously I will be against him. And then we jump to Usibongiseni Mthethwa, which obviously I did speak with you guys earlier on in terms of Mthethwa and Nezama update. When it comes to Mthethwa and Chelanga Kaizer Chiefs tour, according to my trusted sources, they are going to decide his future after Babuya Spain. But right now, it looks like the decision has already been made, and Oxum Tetwa is going to stay for another season. Now, I'm not sure if Usainile as of yet or not, but it's what I'm being told right now. Or to know, definitely Oxum Tetwa. It looks like they have decided to know he's going to remain with the club for another season. So quite interesting, but I do understand he's been a very influential player. You saw how he managed to help the club when we were playing against Rangers FC. I'm compliment. I'm look at that control of the ball and being under pressure and all of that. And we took opportunity of an counter attack, which is something last season besileka kuyo kakhulu, but this season it looks like Coach Fernando de Cruz is working, very closely with the players to make sure to be try to at least, combine and we make use of those opportunities, because those opportunities are the things that make you win matches. And people do not understand there's certain opponents where you cannot be able to create those chances that you need, but whenever uthola le chance ye counter attack, make sure ukuthi uyayisebenzisa. And it was a beautiful goal from Etiosa Ekotaro. He's clearly the God's power that we signed, but there's still a long time for us to be able to look at everything, but so far it looks like things are combining very well. I know it's a start of 2 draws, which there's people who are going to be saying this and this and that. By the way, Orlando Pirates is playing, I think, around 7 their first preseason game, and I'm happy with them, showing everything. I think they will be broadcasting that game. Unlike us, Tina, we tend to hide things and act like things are combining very well. Then must just feel but things start to be a bit different. But hopefully, we're gonna be like that, because if you remember, Netherlands, we were performing very well during the preseason, and then no, Turkey, not the Netherlands, Turkey. We're performing very well. We score more goals. We're winning games, and then when it came to Ilona, it was a close game. It was closed. Most of the games were behind closed doors. And then when it came to Netherlands, that's where we were struggling a lot, but we were working on making sure that we combine very well. So those 2 preseasons were 2 different things, and the other one was televised. Even though we were losing games, we could see, the build up. We could see what the coaches were trying to do, or the coach, I can say, because Nabi was the one who was responsible and making sure what he looks at everything that was happening in terms of the players. And then last but not least, buffet 2, we jump to Mfana wethu Naledi Hlongwane. Now there's another club that has been promoted to the senior level. So that club is Hope FC, and it looks like they're interested in getting Naledi Hlongwane. Now, preferably, they want to get the boy for a long-term loan deal from the club, which obviously they know they're not going to be able to sign him, but then they can be able to get him on a loan, which I feel like would be a good thing for Naledi Hlongwane, because he clearly deserves those minutes playing on the top flight football. Mostly because we tend to find ourselves in need of those, strikers, especially the quality that Naledi Hlongwane has. Same as Uvele Bafethu. So I'm happy he's starting to do what I was hoping he would do, and definitely I might say it has to do with the coaching, but it's one thing, even though we still do not have confirmation of the goal, it's one thing that I can say with Uvele, as much as we believed in him, it is accurate to what he's definitely going to give us something, and hopefully this season he's going to do a lot more than that. And you can see how the coach is looking towards young stars, so it makes sense. I'm a player's way to ayohamba vutiwe wherever they are going, if ever they were to go from the club. So with Naledi Hlongwane, I might think Kaizer just might not want to let go of him as of yet, even though he did not travel with the rest of the squad to Ilona, Spain for the preseason. I don't know, maybe there's something they're thinking about. Maybe Bazomambisa on a loan, or maybe they will just say, no, we're not going to do that. We need him for something else. I don't know, but all of that depends on the decision that will be taken by the club and also probably by him with Naya. Is he interested in joining, you know, a new club just to get some minutes, get experience, and come back? Naya Bono Taimanji Sangrighty. It's only the finer details that needs to be ironed out. So I don't know. That's just me thinking about it. And by the way, I've received new information in terms of Maccabi Lepo, but this is purely speculation. Now, there's people claiming out there that Maccabi Lepo is not leaving the club, and despite, you know, the talks with there's certain clubs that have tabled offers for him, and that is accurate. I know that is accurate. I know clubs have, you know, given certain amount for the player, which is high, maybe around 15, 16 million, around there, from the 9 or 10 million is signing higher. So with that being said, some are saying Guti he could not join the club for preseason because he was training. You know, recently Kaizer Chiefs released footage, but it's old footage of the club training before they left for preseason in Spain, or before they left for the tour in Spain. So they revolted, you know. We saw players, even Maccabi Dilepo was there. As reported before, Uti Dilepo, when he arrives back in the country, he will be expected to join the club. So he was there, he was training with the rest of the squad. And now people are thinking, Uti, no, he did not leave because of Indaba's visa. Maybe that's why he was held back. If visa does approve before Escati, he will be able to fly and join them in Spain. I don't know about that, but one thing I do know is the club prepares for Visa things for their squad before Escati because they know they need to be leaving. So I might be mistaken, I might be wrong. I don't know how actually those visa things work in depth, but so far I don't know. I don't think that is the reason, but all will be revealed as time goes on. So Bonangai, if he's going to play or he's not going to play, or there's going to be certain things that are going to be shown during that time. But for now, Bafetu, I think I've given you enough updates. So we have played 2 draws. We played a draw. We played our second draw today. Earlier on, I wanted to, guys, I wanted to give you footage of the game, and I know after this video there will be lots and lots of footage. I will try to cover it with you guys, if ever it's a highlight or something, sizobukela sisonke and react to everything, because me, the most important one that I want to see is how we considered the goal. So with the first one, Sponile, how we considered the goal, it was more of like a okay, because now it would be like I'm contradicting myself, because Lepo scored almost the same goal, and manje kuluma differently, that would mean I'm saying it's not a goal, it was just him crossing the ball. So let's just leave it at that, and then let's look at this one. There is Kati Mashamba, or when we get the footage, if ever there is footage of us conceding that goal. But anyways, as I said, thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and with something new. Kosi for life.